CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 2, Part 35, Audio by Renee Matthew. We have to do a lot of discussions regarding the questions that we saw in the previous slide, especially with a set of humbler questions to understand the social and political background which was driven by this ruler Genghis Khan. Who were the Mongols? Where did they live? Who did they interact with, and how do we know about their society and politics? All these questions will be dealt with in the coming slides. The capture of Bukhara is mentioned here in this resource box. Juwayni was a Persian chronicle. He had written chronicles, and he was a Persian chronicler from the 13th century of the Mongol rulers of Iran, and he has given an account over here regarding the capture of Bukhara in 1220. So after the conquest of the city, Juwayni reported that Genghis Khan came to the conquered city, especially to the residents of the city, and he addressed to them like this: "O people, that you have committed great sins. Because you have committed a lot of sins, you have been punished. You are under me right now. It is like God has asked me to punish you where you come under the control of me. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." So he himself calls to be a punishment where these people are going to be conquered. They're already conquered the city of this particular, and he says that God has given a punishment for you. So one man actually escaped from Bukhara after its capture and had come to Khorasan. And he was questioned about the fate of his own city, that is Bukhara, and he replied saying, "They came, they mined the walls, they burned, they slew, they plundered, and they departed." So this is the kind of report that you can get from a person. And Genghis Khan himself addresses the people of that rich city saying that you have been punished by God and I have been sent as a punishment to you. What about the social and political background? The Mongols are a very great body of people, especially they had lot of similarities to the language of the Tatars, Khitan and Manchus to the east. I told you that the places which were surrounding the Mongol Empire were already scared of the influence of the Mongols, and they had a lot of influence of the Mongols on them. And also the Turkic tribes to the west. So all these people influenced them, the Tatars, Khitan, Manchus, Turkic tribes. Some of the Mongols were pastoralists, people who depended on pastures, while others were hunter-gatherers. So this is the occupation of these people: pastoralists and hunter-gatherers. What did the pastoralists do? They tended horses, sheep, and also to a lesser extent they had livestock like cattle, goats and camels. Okay, and they also were nomads, or they nomadized in the steppes of Central Asia. They started moving within the steppes of Central Asia. That is why they are known as the nomadic people of steppes of Central Asia, in a tract of land in the area of the modern state of Mongolia. So within that particular place they were acting as nomads. That was nomadized groups of steppes of Central Asia. Okay. Now this was a real majestic landscape. Why do we call it majestic, this particular stretch of tract of land in Central Asia? Because it had wide horizons, rolling plains, and it was so nice. It had scenic beauty which was snow-capped by Atlai mountains to the west. You can imagine this, the majestic landscape with mountains, the snow-capped mountains on the western side, the arid Gobi desert in the south, and it is drained by Onon and Salenga rivers and myriad springs from the melting snows of the hills in the north and the west. So the springs, the snow will start melting, so it created spring in the other parts of the places. So it is like it was a very great place of scenic beauty, and it's like as if they were blessed with all these things. And one side they had desert also to the south. But to the northern parts of the plains where grasses could grow, it actually helped the pastoralists, especially when they had lush, luxuriant grasses for pasture, and considerable small game were available in a good season. Game means game for hunting, the animals. For the hunters, they had very good game during the good season. What about the hunter-gatherers? They resided in the north of the pastoralists. Okay, wherever the pasture was there, the pastoralists resided there, and to the north of the pastoralists, in the Siberian forests, we have the hunter-gatherers, because they had to go for hunting and all that. Now we have to look into the hunter-gatherers, and this is the kind of lifestyle that they led. Look at the way they had these tents. It is not exact tents, but these were the housing that they used. Some kind of cloth material was used, and it is set up like a tent. And look at the way it is constructed. They are taking a lot of efforts to put it up, and so many people can be accommodated inside that. What about the hunter-gatherers? They were a humbler body of people who were lesser in number and very small group than the pastoralists, because we have more of pasture and luxuries and grasses to one side of the empire. So pastoralists were more in number, and they had all these animals and livestock. But hunter-gatherers were humbler in nature, they were smaller in nature, and they always made a living from trade in furs of animals which were trapped in the summer months. So during the summer they will get a very good game, especially with the fur of the animal, and they traded with that. Now there were a lot of extremes of temperature, definitely because of the desert and because of the snow-capped mountains. It was like extremes of temperature was faced, especially in the entire region, like harsh long winters followed by brief dry summers. All these things were there. Okay, and agriculture was possible in the pastoral regions. Actually, in the pastoral regions, agriculture was possible, especially during short parts of the year. It was actually possible. Okay, and there is a time for having this agriculture. But what happened? What did the Mongols do? Unlike, they were not like the Turks from the west. They did not take to farming. They were not interested in farming like the Turks, okay, in spite of the favorable season. Neither the pastoral nor the hunting gathering economies could sustain dense population. They were not interested in having so many people around them. The population was not vast, it was not dense, and in spite of having a very good place for pasture and hunting, they did not take to this. And as a result, the region possessed no cities. Only when the population increases, the region will have lot of people and it will grow into cities, like how it happened in Mesopotamia, right? We saw in Mesopotamia that urban cities started developing. But here that was not the case. Regions did not increase. And Mongols, just like how I told you, they lived in tent-like structures, and that was known as jars. Okay, they used to travel with their herds from their winter to summer pasture lands. They kept on traveling